Cricut just announced that they are releasing a brand new machine called the Cricut Venture. And I know some of you are wondering what my thoughts are on this new machine, so I am going to share those with you. If we're just meeting right now, hi, my name is Nisha. Welcome to Little Craft Nest. So the Cricut Venture is a large format cutting machine that can cut up to 25 inches and 75 feet long. That is huge. Just think of the projects that you can make with that. So that got me really excited when I heard about this new machine. And yes, there are other machines on the market that do cut large scale projects, but a lot of those other machines only cut vinyl. The Cricut Venture cuts over 100 different types of material, which is amazing. So with the Cricut Venture, you're able to use mats with the machine as well as smart material. Now you can't use the same mats that you have for your Cricut Maker or your Cricut Explorer. The machine does require different mats. However, that being said, some of the tools that you are using with your Cricut Maker, you can use with the Cricut Venture, such as your pens that you have or even the foil tips. And so I really like that Cricut made that versatile so you don't have to go out and buy all new adaptive tools. Some of the tools you already have will work with their new machine. So I keep thinking about what type of projects I would want to make on this new machine. So some of the thoughts I had were large, giant paper flowers. Cricut actually has large sheets of cardstock that you can use in the Cricut Venture, which I think is pretty cool. You could make large scale wall decals. Now I have made a number of wall decals before, but when I've made them with my Cricut Maker, and I've had to piece those together. So I have this wall decal in my son's bedroom. I think I used 5 different mats to make this decal, and then I put it together like a puzzle. But with the Cricut Venture, you can cut this decal out in one go. So you don't have to put it together like a puzzle after it's been cut out. And it would be so much easier to apply to the wall. Now, if you're interested in learning how to make large decals like that with your maker, I had made a large scale vinyl decal for my church at Christmas this past year, and I filmed that. So if you're interested in that, I will leave that link down below in the description. Another thing that I think is really cool about this machine is that you can do large scale print then cut projects. I was wondering when I first heard about the machine, does it do print then cut? And yes, it does. But keep in mind, if you were to do a really large print then cut project, you would also need to have a large scale printer. And I was curious, how much do those printers cost? And you're probably looking around $1,000 for a printer. So not only would you be buying the Cricut Venture, you would also need to buy a large format printer. And so that would be great if you had a business, but if you're just a hobby crafter, you may not want to invest that much money into a new printer as well as a new machine. But I love that there is the possibility to be able to do that. Another thing that's really cool about the Cricut Venture, not only can you make really large projects, but you could do hundreds of small projects at the same time. So I'm thinking little tags to go on hundreds of wedding favors. So imagine being able to cut out 200 little wedding favor tags all at once rather than making them on maybe 10 mats or probably even more to get all those cut out. The machine would really make productivity go so much faster. So if you're often planning large scale events, I think the Cricut Venture would be amazing for you and your crafting needs. It would also be really good if you had a small business. It would really help boost your productivity and also allow you to make those larger projects that you could sell. You may not be selling your crafts, but you may have a small business that you do need a large size cutting machine for. So maybe you own a company that distributes different goods and merchandise and you label a lot of products. You can use the Cricut Venture to just print off hundreds of your labels and your designs very quickly and very efficiently. After watching some videos on this new machine, I noticed how fast this new machine cuts, and I was just blown away. And I really love to test it for myself, because it's one thing seeing it online and seeing people who've already been able to get the machine, test it out, and they're always so excited about it, but I really love to test it myself. But from the looks of it, it looks like the machine is very precise and very fast. So that's also going to help you with your productivity and get you to get those products out that much faster. Now, I know you're wondering, what is the cost for this new machine? So if you head over to Cricut.com, it looks like they will be selling this new machine for $999 US. And with the exchange rate in Canada, that's quite a bit of money. And that price does not include the stand that it goes on. It has a stand that you can use that is sold separately, but I believe they do have a bundle where you can buy those two items together. So the cutter and the stand. Now, I know that's a lot of money, and maybe it's a great investment for a small business like I had mentioned, but if you're just a hobby crafter, and it may not be something you're willing to invest in quite yet, especially if you don't do projects on that scale, if you're not making hundreds of one thing, or if you're not making huge, enormous projects. Maybe you only make a wall decal once in a while, and it's just not worth it for you to go out and buy a large machine for that one-time project. Now, that being said, when I looked around online at other large vinyl cutting machines, I think the price that Cricut has priced the Cricut Venture at is very fair. Yes, you can get machines that are cheaper, but like I said at the beginning, they often only cut vinyl and they don't cut as many materials as a Cricut machine would cut. The Cricut Venture also allows you to do things like scoring and drawing and foiling, which these other vinyl cutters would not allow you to do. If you look at the Cricut Maker 3, it's priced around $500, give or take, whether you get it on sale or not. And so this new machine is double the price, but it's also double the size, and you can just do so much more with it. So it really depends on what your crafting needs are, if you're planning to invest in this machine or not. Personally, I'd love to try it out. I don't think I'll be buying it quite yet, but maybe I'll convince my local library to pick one up so I can test it out before I go ahead and invest in this huge piece of equipment. You also need space for it. Now, Cricut did design it to take up the least amount of space as possible, which I think is amazing. But I have a small craft room. You may not even have a craft room. You may craft at your kitchen table, and you just don't have space for this large machine, and that's totally understandable. This machine would probably not be for you. But what's wonderful about Cricut is that there's a machine for everyone. So there's a small little Joy, there's the Makers, the Explorers, and now we have the large Venture machine. Someone else who could really benefit from the Venture are teachers and schools. I've always said every teacher needs to have a Cricut machine, even if they're just using it for bulletin boards alone. It would be so handy for all those large scale projects. I have worked in a few schools, and I know teachers love to decorate their bulletin boards, and it can often be very time consuming, especially if they're painting or hand drawing all those letters out they want to put on the boards. But with the Cricut Venture, you'd be able to do that so much faster. And if the individual school invested in one themselves, all the teachers would be able to share that. And I think it would be a great resource for a school to have. So if you're not able to purchase this machine now, maybe it's far out of your budget, or you don't think you'll use it enough for it to be worth the investment, go convince your local library to purchase one, and then maybe you'll be able to test it out. Like I said, I don't think I'll be buying one right away, but I'm really hoping to test one out in the near future. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on this new machine. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Maybe there's something I haven't thought about yet. Go ahead and subscribe to this channel and give us a thumbs up, and I hope to see you on more crafting adventures.